Video games are a part of our history, and most of us have spent numerous nights in our youth sitting up with our friends or on our own playing games for hours and hours on end, trying to complete secret missions, trying to unlock weapon skins, trying to do everything we possibly can to level up and complete that game. And it is exhilarating with boss fights and extra great graphics and all these amazing things that make games amazing. So in this video I'm going to cover my top 15 games that I have ever played. Now if you're looking at this list and you're thinking, where the hell is that game? How the hell has he missed that one out? Well, just think that it is probably a game that I have never played before. So things like Escape from Tarkov, the God of War series, Fortnite, Minecraft, games like that I've never played, so they're not going to be in this list. But there are some absolute bangers that I have played over the years, and we're going to start off from the earliest game that I played as a kid, and then we're going to work our way up in the years that these games were released all the way up to today. So grab yourself a coffee, get comfortable, and let's go. Kicking things off is Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, the SNES. Do you remember that console that had cartridges that you had to buy and plug in order to play? Yeah, that one. So Super Mario World was released in 1990, and it was an amazing game for me because it was pretty much the first video game that I ever played religiously. And I used to play it on my own and with friends, and we used to run around trying to complete all of the missions and unlock the secret levels. Now the good thing about this is it has multiple different levels that you can complete, leading you all the way up to Bowser's Castle, and it even has some secret missions along the way that you have to unlock, fly up to the top of some weird intricate level in order to get the secret level. And I think there was 93 or 94 levels in total which you could unlock, including the secret ones, and it was just so much fun. It provided hours of fun for us, including all the boss battles, and it was just so good. Now if you played this from beginning to end, it would only take you around 3 to 4 hours to complete, but it was just the replayability of it, the levels, they were just so much fun. And it inspired a whole wave of games like Super Mario All-Stars, which you could play with your friends, and Mario Kart and all that other stuff. It was just so good. And this is just such a nice childhood memory for me that I played this game so much. Next up, we jump into 1997 with GoldenEye. Now, GoldenEye was released on the Nintendo 64 in 1997, and it is an amazing first-person shooter game based off of the James Bond film starring Pierce Brosnan.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Now, this game absolutely smashed it out of the park and become one of the most popular games ever played. Now, graphically, looking back at it now, it's awful. But at the time, it was quite good, and it was industry leading, really. And it was just so much fun. And people tried to do all these challenges of doing it in super hard mode, doing it pistols only, trying to unlock the golden gun. Not to mention you could play multiplayer on it as well. And GoldenEye was just such an amazing game. Next on the list is Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. Now, there's been a few Metal Gear Solid games that have been out, but my favourite was Sons of Liberty. Now, that might be an unpopular opinion, as it was quite widely regarded as not the best Metal Gear Solid game, but I preferred it. I didn't really like the Phantom Pain. It just was a bit too drawn out for me and had too many side quests in it. I just really liked Sons of Liberty. It was straight to the point, complete the story mission, and have some fun along the way. And you could take the mickey out of guards, you could sneak around, you could hide in lockers, all that fun stuff that you could do, become a cardboard box. It was just so good, and the story for this I absolutely loved. Now, I am a big story mission gamer. That's the type of games I like to play. A to B story mode games, and this for me was so captivating, so much fun. It was a game that I played for hours and replayed it so many times because I just really enjoyed it. Not just the story, but the actual gameplay itself and the gameplay mechanics. And it was just such a fun game. And graphically, it was really good. It was released in 2001. I think it was on the PS2, but it was so good and I loved it. Hours and hours of fun on that game.
Excellent speech, my friend.
Who the?
Gift of the silver tongue. They say it's the mark of a good officer. And of a liar. Americans are too in love with the sound of their own voice to speak the truth.
Identify yourself.
I am Shalashaska, also called Revolver Ocelot.
Next on the list, we have the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Released in 2007, this had an incredible campaign mode with a great story, lots of plot twists, but for the main reason, it was widely known for the multiplayer. This gave birth to what we know as Call of Duty Warzone today, and all the Modern Warfare game modes that we have available. Modern Warfare, released in 2007, changed the game when it comes to multiplayer gaming. This sparked a whole new genre of gaming, and it was just hours of fun trying to unlock weapons, trying to unlock skins, trying to level your players up, prestige them, and you would get kill streaks, like you would get your UAV, you'd get a cruise missile, an airstrike, and then the chopper, which was basically the end game, and you would just destroy anyone on the map once you got the chopper. It was just so good. The maps were great, and you just never got bored of it. You never ever got bored of playing Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare 2 and 3 come out and just kept getting better each time. And this game was the one that started the trend and started the whole Modern Warfare franchise and just sparked a whole wave of streamers and creators. Next on my list is Assassin's Creed 2. Do you remember Ezio Auditore? But it was so good. The gameplay was so good. The story was incredible. The parkour was incredible. The fighting style was great. And the whole series of Assassin's Creed 2 was part of a great storyline that started with Assassin's Creed, that then eventually went on to become a movie starring Michael Fassbender. But the whole series of Assassin's Creed had a brilliant story all the way up to Revelations. And then it come to a head at some point. I can't remember what game it actually come to a head in, but it was just the whole story behind it, where you're in the modern world and then you get cast back into your ancestors' world of being an Assassin's Creed member. It was so good, and the gameplay was so good. The mechanics were so good. Trying to hide was so good. Everything about this game was incredible. Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and they made other games around this as well, and they were all brilliant. I loved Assassin's Creed 2, and it will always carry a special place for me. Next on the list, this might be a very unpopular decision, but I loved Rockstar's LA Noire that was released in 2011. Now, this is basically a game where you run around as a police officer. You start off in the 1940s as Officer Phelps, and you start off as a patrolman doing investigations, looking at crime scenes, investigating clues and looking at scenes, trying to solve cases. And you start off as a patrolman and you work your way up into the drug squad, the murder squad, and it all has a great story that underpins the whole plot of the video game. And I really liked it. Not a lot of people did, but I loved it. Now, maybe I'm just one of the few that really enjoyed this game, but I've replayed this game 2 or 3 times because I just thought it was brilliant. Next up on the list, this shouldn't come as a surprise to people, but one of the best games ever made, released in 2013. That's right, people, GTA 5. Now, there was GTA 3, GTA 4, and we've just been told that GTA 6 is going to be coming out in 2025, but GTA 5 is one of the best games that's ever been made. It was years ahead of its time when Rockstar released it back in 2013, and people still play it today. I still play it today. There is a whole modding community online that do a whole range of things with it. They mod it so you can play as the police and you can change the car skins. They mod it so that you can do races on it and do extra missions and stuff. There's GTA Online. This game mode is still great today. When it was released, it was years ahead of its time graphically, and even today it still holds up pretty well. And we're thinking this game is over 10 years old now, and look at it now, you can still play it. There are games that are released now that still aren't as good graphically as GTA 5. And all you need to do, if you've got it on PC, is add a few graphics mods, add a few different mods to it to make it more modern and make it 4K with ray tracing and improved blood and mechanics and driving and stuff like that. And it just looks modern. It just looks like it could be GTA 6 with a few mods. No, you can do that with any game and mods, but GTA 5 on its own, the base game, is still incredible. The story is great. Playing as 3 different characters. having a wide open spans map that you can drive around, multiple different vehicles, hundreds of vehicles, a whole area that you can explore, weapons, so much stuff. And the whole story of this game, I know loads of people that have played this game through multiple times and they still love it, and it never gets boring. And we're all looking forward to what GTA 6 is going to release. Next on the list, I am a huge superhero fan, and Batman Arkham Knight makes its place onto this list. Now, the Batman Arkham series was fantastic, and I wish to God that they would remake this and do a complete ground up remake of the whole series for PlayStation 5 and PC, because Arkham Knight was the absolute pinnacle of the Arkham Knight series, where you can have all of the different Batman suits from all the different movies and cartoons and series and stuff like that. And the story is incredible, having all the amazing side missions, the dark brooding world of Arkham City, and it is just so good. The whole thing is brilliant. Sorry, I meant Gotham City. Yeah, I got that wrong. Arkham City was one of the games, wasn't it? But yeah, you had Arkham Asylum, where you're basically trying to fight out all the inmates of Arkham Asylum. That comes to a head when you fight the Joker. Then you've got Arkham City, which is Hugo Strange is the main bad guy in that one. And then you've got Arkham Knight, where the Arkham Knight is the main bad guy. And it all comes to a head in Gotham City, where it's overtaken by bad guys. And you've got all of Batman's enemies in there. You've got Two-Face, you've got Penguin, you've got the Riddler. You've got the Arkham Knight himself. You've got practically everyone, and the game is amazing. The fight mechanics is great. And considering Gotham Knights was released recently, and that game completely tanked, it was awful. I played it, and I gave up very quickly. Arkham Knight is so good. You can't get over it. I've started replaying it again recently, just on PS5, and there's no mods on it. I've just been replaying it from the beginning, and it is amazing. Now, if you haven't played it already, I highly recommend you play Arkham Knight and replay the whole Arkham series. Now, don't get me wrong, the first one is a bit dated now, and this is why I want a ground-up remake of all of this franchise with ray tracing and improved graphics and improved fighting mechanics and stuff like that. But Arkham Knight and the series in general, the story, the missions, the gameplay, even the graphics for Arkham Knight is just incredible.
The city's overrun. We don't stand a chance.
Stay here. I'll send someone to pick you up.
What are you doing?
Evening the odds.
Next on my list, remember I said how much I love story games? Yep, Uncharted 4 is on my list. This game came out in 2016 and was the finale of the Uncharted series made by Naughty Dog. Now, the Uncharted series was only available on PlayStation, but it was phenomenal. Uncharted 1, 2 and 3 were brilliant, but Uncharted 4 was the culmination of all of those games that come to an epic head. And it had some incredible gameplay modes. It had some amazing car chase scenes and just some brilliant interactive missions that you could play. The whole story that underpins the game is amazing, and I loved it. But for me, it was just the gameplay and the interactiveness of it that's Naughty Dog is so well known for in games like The Last of Us and things like that. But Uncharted 4, for me, I loved it. I've played it through twice, and I want to play it through again. Again, I wish they would remake the Uncharted series, all of it, from the ground up and do a ground up remake to remaster it for PlayStation 5 with ray tracing and improved frame rates and stuff like that. But even now, you could play Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 3, and they're still really, really good. Next on my list is Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Last week, a crude explosive detonated outside the U.S. Embassy in La Paz, Bolivia. 2 Marine Embassy guards were injured in the blast. 2 days later, a CIA asset in central Bolivia provided us with these images. Our analysts have identified the individual in the photo as DEA Special Agent Ricardo Ricky Sandoval, my friend. Sandoval had spent the last 6 years investigating the local cocaine industry. Our understanding is that Sandoval was the intended target of the bombing. What the embassy bomb did not accomplish was completed up close and personal. Sandoval was captured, tortured, and killed. Then his body was dumped. We have yet to recover it. Our target, the group responsible for the embassy bombing and the death of Special Agent Sandoval, is the drug trafficking organization commonly known as the Santa Blanca Cartel. Yesterday, they were just narcos. Today, they're narco-terrorists. Initially, the Bolivian government resisted the Mexican cartel. They formed UNIDAD, a Bolivian special forces unit. It didn't go as planned. Thousands of bodies later, politicians, police officers, and journalists have become an endangered species. The Bolivian government has imploded on itself. With no other options, the new president made a deal with Santa Blanca. You stop killing our people, we'll look the other way. Since then, Santa Blanca has turned Bolivia into the nexus of the South American drug trade. With their friends in Mexico, they also have a clear pipeline to the US and Canada. The only way to stop Santa Blanca for good is to completely dismantle them, piece by piece. The cartel is organized into 4 operations: production, smuggling, security, and influence. At the top of it all is El Jefe de los Jefes, boss of bosses, El Sueño.
You are a special forces squad that is dispatched to Bolivia to fight off a whole drug cartel. And what I love about it is each area in this massive, wide open sandbox style map is governed by a different part of the cartel's leadership. There are 4 different areas that you need to take out, and you need to take out all the little minions and runarounds in order to work yourself up the chain in order to kill the head of each division. And when you do it, you have about 50-60% of the way through, you have the option to go and do the big boss fight. I would highly recommend that you don't do that and you finish the actual mission first and finish wiping out all of the whole cartel before you take on the main boss. Now this is amazing because there's so many side quests you can do. You can do so many different things in this to take back the whole of Bolivia. But for me, I just love the whole fact that you've got this spider web of a cartel and their leadership structure that you need to take out in order to regain the map. And I love it. It's just brilliant. It's such a good game mode. The mechanics in it and the gameplay and everything is still really, really good. Now, Breakpoint, which is a newer version of it, I didn't like as much. Graphically, it's so much better, and the story is still pretty good. But I just much preferred the structure of Wildlands. Even though it's a few years old now, it still holds up. It's still a brilliant game. If you haven't played it, I recommend you play it. It's available on the PlayStation Network. If you have a membership, then you can play it on that, and it is really, really good. Breakpoint is still really good, but for me, Wildlands, the story, was so much better. Next up on the list from 2019, we have the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but not what you think. For me, it's purely the campaign mode on this that I really liked. It wasn't the multiplayer, it wasn't Warzone, it wasn't anything like that. For me, it was just the campaign. I loved it. They are known for a couple of missions that will go down in history. For one, you've got the London Attack mission where you play some firearms police officers in central London that are trying to thwart a terrorist attack, and it goes wrong and you have to sort of fight off all of the bad guys whilst trying to defend London. And it is really realistic, really graphically intense, and just the music and the background, the whole ambience of it is just phenomenal. Really, really just immersive and keeps you engaged. And the most graphically intense mission that I've ever seen in my life is Clean House. Now this game, if you play this on realism mode in 4K with a good set of headphones, this is the most realistic mission in any game you will ever play. It looks so good and so real. Clean House is basically a mission where you have to go out and take out a few bad guys in a house in London, in Camden Town, and it is so graphically realistic. It is probably the most realistic mission that's ever been made. And for that reason, that's why I love the campaign mode. The whole campaign mode is so good and the graphics are brilliant. The story is brilliant. It is in keeping with the original Modern Warfare. But for me, campaign is the only reason why I loved Modern Warfare. I did love Warzone and stuff like that, but a multiplayer. But for me, it was just the campaign mode. It was just so, so good. Next up on my list is Marvel's Spider-Man. Now, this is where I get a little bit cheeky because I'm going to include all 3 games here. So Marvel's Spider-Man was released in 2018. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales was released in 2020 at the launch of the PlayStation 5, and most recently Marvel Spider-Man 2 was released at the back end of 2023, with the New Game Plus mode just being released in the last week as of the time I'm making this video. Now, all three of these games are absolutely phenomenal. Now, I love superheroes and I love New York City, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but these games are absolutely amazing. The gameplay, the swinging, the combat, the upgradability, the suits you have, the graphics, the wide expanse of New York that you've had. These games just get better and better each time, and they improve something each time. Now, while Miles Morales is the shortest of the games, it still provides so much replayability and so much value, and the game is amazing. The whole story is amazing, and I just loved it. I love the music in it. I love the soundtrack in it. I love Miles Morales as a character. I love the New York at winter time. All of the games, all three of them, are brilliant, and each one gets slightly better than the last. Now, they've been the Marvel Spider-Man was remastered a couple of years after it was released to include 4K, ray tracing, and improved graphics. But it didn't. To be honest, it's still really good. They're all really good. All three of these games, if you haven't played them, play Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm going to be replaying Marvel Spider-Man 2 on this channel, so there'll be a few video releases coming up for that in the New Game Plus mode. I just love all three of them, and if you haven't played them, they are the three of the best games that I have ever played. Next up on the list is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, while the original was really, really good, for me, Red Dead Redemption 2 really stood out. It is Rockstar down to a T, with all of its side missions, all of the little Easter eggs and things you can find in the game, along with a main storyline that is just brilliant. And it is made for hours of fun on YouTube, with people going off the rails and doing loads of things you shouldn't be doing, and just having fun with the game. Graphically, it's brilliant. The story is brilliant. The Easter eggs are brilliant. The map is massive and open scale, and you can go wherever you want and just explore for hours and get lost and not actually achieve anything. It is just a fantastic game that was released in 2018, and it is phenomenal. I loved it, and I reckon you should go and play it too.
Tie this maggot up someplace safe. We get him hungry first. I got a saying, my friend. We shoot fellas as need shooting, save fellas as need saving, and feed them as need feeding. We are gonna find out what you need.
Now, next up on my list, it should be no surprise, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it's DMZ mode. Now, DMZ mode is not without flaws. It has tons of bugs, it's full of hackers, and Call of Duty, Activision gave up on it after Modern Warfare 2. After a few seasons of making you buy all the different bundles and packs to level up and get all the different operators with different perks you could have and all the pay-to-win drama that was going out, they absolutely trashed it and moved on to Modern Warfare 3 and gave up with it. And people have got the ump with Activision, and I'm not surprised, because DMZ was one of the best game modes that Call of Duty have released in years. I loved it. I built my whole community off of it. Loads of creators built their whole community off of it. And DMZ was so damn good. I can't say it enough, people. It is so damn good. People are still playing it now, even though the servers will probably go off at some point in 2024. People still love it and refuse to give up on it because it is brilliant. I still play it. I still enjoy it. And the only reason I'm not streaming it anymore is because there's no real progression in it anymore. They've stopped doing progression. They've got rid of all the missions. But let me just tell you why this is so good if you've never played DMZ before. DMZ is basically a game mode in Call of Duty where it's an extraction shooter. You infill into the map and you need to loot to get all of your stuff. You need to loot to get a 3-plate, to get a large bag, to get upgrades for your weapons, to get weapons cases, to unlock skins and extra bundles and stuff. You need to run around the map completing missions in order to level up and in order to unlock different things. There are missions within the game that tell you to go and complete different missions. There are PvP elements to it, but the whole point of DMZ was supposed to be an extraction shooter with a side of PvP. And nowadays, all it's become is a modern day war zone where people just go in, wipe the map, steal all their gear and get out. And don't be wrong, that's fun, but it's not as fun as what it used to be, where you would go around with your team, casually going around looting. You might meet another team that want to kill you and then you have a battle, or you might team up with them. And he's had a lot of drama along the way, but it was such a good game mode, and I loved it. And if you haven't played it, go and play DMZ, but I know most of you have or know of DMZ because you're in my community. But that's why it's on my list. Now, yes, it's full of bugs, but I played it solidly for the past, 2 years that it's been out. I built my whole channel off of it, my whole subscriber base off it, my whole community off of it. And DMZ is on my list because it's just amazing. Yes, it's got its flaws, but that's why we love it. And finally, another addition from Naughty Dog is The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. Now, the original Last of Us was released in 2013. There's been several remasters, but the final remaster, The Last of Us Part 1, was released in 2022, and The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered was released in 2024. Now, both of these games, if you play the remastered version or the original, it doesn't really matter, but if you're playing the remastered version with a good set of headphones, play this on a PlayStation 5 on a good OLED TV with either a surround sound system or a good set of headphones in the dark at 2 o'clock in the morning. That is how you should play this game, because this game will scare the absolute life out of you. It is one of the most graphically intense games. It's one of the best graphical games I've ever seen. I don't know how to describe this. I can't find the words to articulate how good this game is. It is one of the best games I've ever played graphically. It is years ahead of its time. It looks so real. They've done so much work behind this. The motion capture and all that stuff they did with the actors is amazing. The story for The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 is incredible. We've already seen the series on HBO starring Pedro Pascal. It is just great. The series was great, and the games are great. If you haven't played them, go and play them right now. In the dark at midnight with a surround sound system or a great set of headphones. They are the best game that I've ever played. Part 1 and 2 are just phenomenal.
Thank God. Get ready to celebrate.
Now, let me know on this your top 5 games. Don't give me your top 15, but tell me your top 5 games that you have ever played. Not the top 5 that you've played recently, but the top 5 you've ever played throughout your entire life. Give me that in the comments below. And if you want to see The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, then stay subscribed to this channel, because I'm going to be doing some live streams of that and some videos coming out. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next one.
All teams, townhouse secure. Commence SSE.
Oh, fucking hell. She was going for a bloody detonator.
Good job we dropped it in.
We made the right call, sir.
I'll bet your ass.